In this video, we are going to take a look at Juno Cassandra licensing, and we'll explain how the licensing works with Cassandra Desktop. Now, I just want to emphasize that this video is made in October 2024, so it may well be that if you are watching this video in 2024, some of the content of this video may have changed. So please just check back on our YouTube channel to see if there's an update on Juno Cassandra licensing to this video at that time. So in this presentation, I'm just going to give you a brief background of how Cassandra fits into the Juno ecosystem, and then we'll talk about the general features of the Cassandra desktop license. And specifically then we'll discuss licenses for those of you that are currently already users of Juno AMS, Juno Asset Management System, and then we'll discuss how licenses work for people that are not currently using Juno Viewer or the Juno Asset Management System at all. And finally, we will talk about how to get a license for your computer, and I'll just show you how to generate the information needed for a license in Juno Cassandra. So I just want to emphasize that if you open up Juno Cassandra and you are, for example, following along with our tutorials, then Juno Cassandra will automatically generate a trial or a demo license for you when you open the application. You can use this license for commercial purposes. However, the trial license only allows 500 elements to be modeled. Okay, so just a brief walkthrough through the Juno Asset Management System. Now, I just want to say up front that there is a separate video dealing specifically with how Cassandra fits into the Juno Asset Management System. And I'll put a link to that video in the description below. So I'm just going to go very briefly through this overview in case you haven't yet watched that video. So the backbone of Juno AMS is Juno Viewer, which deals with the database and data management, reporting and securing your data. Then there is Juno Plan, which is the future ForwardWorks program management or FWP management. And then Juno Model, which is our Infrastructure Deterioration Modelling component. Now in Juno AMS, the cloud-based system, there is an older generation model called the DMS Model Framework, which very seamlessly integrates with the ForwardWorks program management module. Juno Cassandra at this stage sits separate from that, although it commercially fits into our Juno Model module. It is currently only a desktop element. Then there's Juno Intelligence, which is our AI-assisted fault and asset detection component. Juno Breach, which deals with breach data, breach inspection and breach information systems, and Juno Job, which is for routine maintenance management, managing workflow for maintenance inspections, inspection instructions, etc. So we are dealing with Cassandra, which fits into our Juno Model component. Very important is that Juno Intelligence is frequently the information from Juno Intelligence, such as the stresses, etc., are frequently used inside Juno Model, and that is one of the key advantages of using this Juno AMS ecosystem, is that you get the benefits of the various modules. Now let's just talk about the desktop license in general. First of all, because it's a desktop application at this stage, the license is generated for a specific computer. And it's an annual subscription license, so the license can be renewed every year. As with Juno AMS, the license that you get is per network. So in Cassandra, we often refer to it as a project, right? So a network may be a specific town council or a specific state highway network and so on that you are dealing with. And in Juno Cassandra, if you look at the tutorials, we often refer to that as a specific project that you are working on. But conceptually, they are the same thing. When you set your workbench in Juno Cassandra, you need to specify which network or project you are working on. And that will then see whether there is a license available for that project. The network name that you provide in your workbench should match one of the networks that are provided for in your license. So the license allows for a specified number of elements to be modeled, and this can differ for each network. So for example, you can have one network which is a large freeway network that allows you to have 10,000 elements in your model, and then you can have a small town council with only 800 elements allowed for in that model, and the pricing for those two networks will then differ. The license cost for a network will vary depending on the number of elements allowed, as I just mentioned, and you can just contact Lonrix for details about those costs. So this is the structure then of the license. For example, you have here your specific computer. On the computer you have a specific license for Cassandra, and let's say you've got 2 network licenses in your license. One, let's say, is for a town called Shelbyville, and you've got 1463 treatment links or elements for that town council in your model. So you will probably want something that allows for a little bit more, let's say 1500 elements. And then you've got another town called Springfield where you may want more elements allowed, and so each of these will be priced accordingly, contained in your one license. So at runtime you need to specify which of these 2 you are working on, and you do this in your workbench setup file. So if you don't know what a workbench setup file is and how it links with Cassandra, please go and look at our tutorial, our first tutorial that deals specifically with these type of concepts for Cassandra. I'll put a link to the first video in that first tutorial series in the description box below. So there you can see that the project name has been given as Shelbyville, and that matches the name in your license. Now, of course, there's nothing that prevents you from only buying, say, one license and then putting different data for different networks into that license. That is not in line with the license agreement, so maybe you will be saving a few dollars in the process by not purchasing a license, but essentially you'll be cheating, so you'll be losing at the game of life. So for Juno Viewer users, a few things to point out. First of all, the Cassandra license is included in your AMS users, and the license, you will have a license for each network in your Juno AMS subscription. We will allow a limited number of desktop licenses per organization, because the nature of Juno Cassandra is such that you will only, in even a very large organization, it's unlikely that you're going to have more than 1 or 2 people that are actually running models. So just contact Lonrix and talk to us about how many desktop licenses you want. If you are a non-Juno user, so you are just an independent modeler and you want to do modeling for several clients that you have and you're interested in Cassandra, then you'll pay an annual license fee for each network or project that you're going to be working on, and the license fee then will vary depending on the number of elements in each project. So the client, you can have an arrangement where your client organization may buy a license, and you as a modeler can then use that license to run the model on your desktop, because your client may not be interested in actually running the model, so you can actually have the model installed on your computer and the client can purchase it so that you can model their network data. There is a limited number of desktop licenses that we will allow for per organization, as I mentioned earlier. And again, just contact Lonrix for details about that. We just want to be reasonable. If you, for example, need to place your computer during the course of a year, you can just ask us and we'll generate a new license for you for the new computer that you have purchased. Or maybe if you get a replacement of your hard drive, your computer identifier might change and you will need a new license. So we've discussed the background, how Cassandra fits into the Juno ecosystem. We've discussed the general features of the desktop license and licenses for current Juno users and licenses for non-Juno users. And now we'll just briefly discuss how you actually get a license for your computer. So the process of requesting and installing a desktop license is quite simple. Basically, you will have to install Juno Cassandra Desktop, of course, and you generate then from the tools menu, generate a computer identification code. You then copy that code to your clipboard. It will be quite a long code. You copy that code into an email and provide in that email details of your organization name, your name, that computer identifier, and then a list of all the networks and the number of elements in each for which you want a license. If you're already a Juno Viewer user, we'll enter into a discussion with you to agree exactly how many elements per network you need and so on. If you are not a Juno Viewer user, just send us details of what you are interested in using in Juno Cassandra, and we will try to help you as much as possible to provide you with the license that you can get up and running with Cassandra as fast as possible. Once you've emailed that to us, After we've entered into a discussion with you and we finalized costs, etc., we will generate a license file for you. It's a small encrypted text file, and you'll save that license on your computer, and then you open up Cassandra again, point Cassandra to the license file, and then once you've pointed it, you'll get a message that asks you to close down Cassandra, and then you just reopen it and the license will then be activated. Let's just open Cassandra and I'll show you briefly how that works. So here I've opened Cassandra and I'm just going to go to the Tools menu, and you'll see that if I go to View License Status, I have an automatic trial project implemented here, but this is currently unlicensed. So with this license, I can follow along with the tutorials, which generally have less than 500 elements, so that will allow you to just use this trial license. So if you're just following along with the tutorials and you're not interested in purchasing a license, then you don't need to actually request a license. But if you are requesting a license for actual line of business modeling analysis, then you will go to the Tools menu, you go to Generate Computer Identifier, copy this to the clipboard, and then email that to us. We'll then email the license file back to you, and once you have that license file, you can put it somewhere safe on the computer where you can access it easily, because unfortunately at this stage, if you get a new version of Juno Cassandra, you'll have to repoint it to that file. So make sure you know where you save that license file, and we'll inform you about that in the email when we send you your license. I then go to Tools, I go to Set License File, and I'm going to navigate in my Windows Explorer and go to where that license file is. So here I've just selected my license file, and you can see Cassandra tells me license file location has been stored. Please close and reopen Cassandra to activate the license. So I'm going to do that now. I close this and then I close Cassandra. And so now I've reopened Cassandra, and if I go to the Tools menu now and go to View License Status, then you can see I've actually got my different licenses activated here for this demonstration. Okay, so that should give you a good idea of how the Juno Cassandra desktop licensing works. If you have got any questions about this, feel very free to get in touch with Lonrix and ask for more information, and we'll be glad to provide it for you. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.